Hey, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooke. If you're new here, this is a channel where I talk about houseplants and do DIYs, and today we are going to talk about this lovely Queen Warocqueanum, or Anthurium Queen. I just said Queen Warocqueanum. It's actually an Anthurium Warocqueanum, or just a queen. That is what I call it. But this beautiful plant right here, it's been through a lot. It is definitely one of my harder to figure out plants. And so today we are going to be moving it to a self-watering planter. So I will talk about that in a second, but if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. That way you can be up to date on more videos like this one. And if you are a recurring viewer, thank you so much for coming back and watching another video. This, again, is my Queen Anthurium, and I love it so much. It was one of my wish list plants, and I never wanted to get it because the only way I could get it was by importing it at the time. Now, in the last few months, I have seen these actually at a lot of plant stores in my area, and it's a bummer because they're obviously a lot less and they are smaller, and so you can then grow them, I feel like, to your environment versus this one. It had to be acclimated, so it was purchased in a shop called Native Plant Store in Florida in Cocoa Beach, and I'm really excited because we're going to be going back there. Kind of asked, like, it wasn't for sale technically, and I asked and she willingly sold it to me. And so I was really excited because she was acclimating it. She had purchased it and it was an overseas purchase. She was acclimating it to, more of an in-home environment and rooting it because it came and it was not rooted. And so I got it home and it was so well rooted. It has a very good root system. It has obviously suffered a little bit in my care because the watering situation. So I just cannot get the watering down. It likes to be well watered. It does not like to dry out. And I just kind of forget about it, to be perfectly honest. And so that is my struggle with this. And so that is why I'm going to be planting it into a self-watering planter. I am making my own self-watering planter because, I don't know, I do have a lot of other self-watering planter DIYs that you can check out on this channel, but it just is easier for me because the self-watering planters online are not this large and they're pretty expensive actually. And so I just decided to use what I had in my garage storage of pots and create one myself. So this sits in a southwest facing window, and I think it really likes the light and enjoys being there. It sits about 6 feet back, and so it does get a good amount of light, but not direct light. And so it's not that, I think. I think what I'm experiencing is a watering issue based on all of the comments online that I'm finding. And I thought it was a, what is it? Like a fungus. I thought it was like a fungus issue, but apparently it's not. This is a sign of being not watered well enough. And so the sign is this. So I'll zoom in, but this is the oldest leaf, and you can see that there are a lot of spots on the back, yellowing spots. And so I don't know if that's like, an extra floral nectary technically, or like, not extra floral nectary, edema, or a situation like that, which can happen when watering, not watering. So especially on fiddles, if you have a fiddle leaf fig and you see a new leaf coming through and it's got like brown spots, it's most likely edema or oedema, and it's just a watering issue. It means that it wasn't watered well enough and it gets those spots. Same thing that extra floral nectaries, apparently, like I have experienced extra floral nectaries on my philodendron, and so people say that those could leave brown spots, or like the cell, like to a cellular level, they burst in the plant and it creates those brown spots. But again, I have looked this up a lot, and people with the queen are experiencing the same thing, and they say that it comes down to the watering. Now, I do use filtered water on this. I have always used filtered water on this just to be on the safe side, because I don't know if it can take what's in my tap water. Again, this was an import, so it's not a tissue culture like a lot of the Queen Anthuriums are in the area that I am in and have been seeing them in person, which are, I feel like, maybe not, going to be a little hardier because they are, again, grown in, this climate setting, whatever. But I really want this to thrive and do well. Now it has been growing, it has a new growth point on it, and it's really exciting. This leaf right here totally came out in while I had it in my care. It is a little bendy though, you can see here, it's not as flat. And so again, I don't know if that's a watering issue and it just got stuck or what. What? What? Anyways, so I don't know if that, yeah, that's the reason it happened. So the other original leaf that I had on it actually looked worse than this. And maybe I'll put a picture of it. It was extremely wavy. And again, I don't know if that's due to shipping or what. But I recently, or not recently, actually now, I did repot it into this pot because again, it was very well rooted in the pot that it came in, and it was growing outside of the pot. And so I knew it needed to be repotted. Now for these guys, they grow up, and so they are climbers. They will grow in a moss pole. So I put a moss pole in here. It does have aerial roots actually growing into the moss pole. But I am tempted to take it out because it is a little much right now, all of this going on. And so I just want to plant it into, again, a self-watering plant. This is the planter I'm going to be planting it into. It has one drainage hole, and I'm going to be putting rope, like I have macrame hanger, into the bottom of it, and then putting water in this pot so it does not have any drainage holes in it. This will be my water cache or whatever, and then this will sit on top of it like so. So like that, and it will just become my planter. It is what it is. It's not the prettiest, but it'll do. And so this is a ceramic planter. Both of these are. This is a terracotta pot. It came in a plastic pot. I put it in terracotta. I think that due to the terracotta being absorbent and taking the moisture out of the soil and me using a super chunky soil mix, I think that there's too much like aeration here. We got too much going on. And I think that it will be fine with my chunky mix in this ceramic pot. So I need a macrame hanger. Hold on. So got this macrame hanger. I'm just going to cut, I don't know, I just double it up and then I'll cut it like to length after I pot it all up. So we're just going to cut off some like this. There you go. Play with the string. We don't like toys. So I just cut one long thing. I am going to double it and then again flip it over and then cut the edge of that. So now I have my 2 strands of rope that I will be putting at the bottom of this pot. So in order to do that, I just thread it up the center of the hole like so. Like that. What? What? And then I will put it that far up, leave the rest like this, and then pot my plant. And so this is like a self-wicking system. You see those plants at Lowe's and Home Depot. They're a self-watering planter, self-wicking system. That's what this is. It's the same concept. It's got rope at the bottom where there is a water reservoir, and it just soaks it up as the plant needs it. So I need to move this plant too. Sorry, this is a repot. We'll put this guy here. That's Plow Manny. Okay, but I'm going to take this Anthurium out and we're going to see what kind of roots we're working with here. I'm going to take this moss pole out. I'm really I think that it's pretty well rooted into the moss pole, so we're going to see here. Okay. Ooh, so it's a little rooted in there, but it's pretty good rooted in there. Hold on. Rooted through the moss pole. I'm telling you, the roots on this thing grow so well. No, you can't have this. The roots on this thing grow so well. It's just the foliage I'm having a struggle with. I'm not going to break off too much of it, but this is basically the root system that it has. It has a really good root system. And so I am just going to pot it directly into this pot and then backfill it. So I think I'm going to leave the moss pole out at this time. Now, when I did a lot of research on this plant in prior years and after receiving it in person, they talked about how much it it was temperamental to the soil it was in. And so a lot of people used coco coir and orchid bark and different like natural items like that and moved away from a soil mix. And so I make my own soilless mix. So I was like, okay, great, I will stick it in that. And so I will have a link to that below, but it seems to enjoy that. Like it grows, again, roots really well. It's just the watering that I am struggling with keeping up on and knowing when it needs to be watered and when it doesn't need to be watered. That's my hard part. So I'm hoping that by doing this self-watering system, it will be a lot better and it will grow more consistent. And so I have this system set up on my Forgetii Anthurium. I showed that here, and it's doing really well. It's actually pushing out a new leaf. It sits in a southwest facing window as well. And so I've had good success with that. But it was the same way. I was struggling with knowing when to water it. So that's it. So this is what it looks like. The string is here. And so if I move this guy out, then this will just sit right in this like that. I will fill this bottom pot with water again, and I will cut the string off probably a little bit. Maybe not, I don't know. Probably not. It's kind of wound through the bottom, but I think it'll be okay. So that is really it. That's what I do for my self-watering DIY planters. You just need a base that does not have drainage holes and will hold water, okay? So no ceramic, or I'm sorry, no terracotta or anything like that, nothing porous. And then just a pot that does have drainage holes that you can string, macrame hanger through. And then that can be terracotta, ceramic, plastic, whatever you want. And pretty much just fill the reservoir when it gets emptied. I usually go a day on my other plants that are in self-watering planters like this without watering it. And then once that's dry after about a day or so, I will fill it back up. Again, for my Anthurium, I use filtered water just because I'm not really positive. And, your household water has a lot of different chemicals that you can't see in it. And so plants do react to that, especially if it's like a import like this guy. Calathea will do it. Alocasia will have a problem or a reaction. But I'm going to see how this guy does here. I know that this is basically covering my entire face because of how large it is. But I'm going to see how well it does in this. And if it, I don't know, has a better foliage outcome, I guess. That one that is not so crispy and yellowy and splotchy like this. But I'll just stick this, just trying to stick it in there because it is starting to it's going up because it was on a pole. But yeah, that was my Anthurium self-watering planter repot. Again, it does have a new leaf coming out, so I'm really excited to see it, and I hope that it continues to grow because it is a beautiful plant, very unique. I mean, the foliage on it, look at this. This is like nuts how long and lobed they are, but that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.